Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts. We do another boxing, another offline gaming experience. This is Blasphemous, the Deluxe Edition for the PlayStation 4, but this was played on my PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, the Deluxe Edition comes with all currently released updates, as well as a few bonus items, like some extra skins on the disc. Now, please keep in mind that though the version says it's 1.00, the actual game on the disc is actually 3.00. Sometimes, as I've mentioned this before, sometimes the publishers, when they re-release a physical copy, they revert the version number back to 1.00 on the show on the PlayStation, but the actual software or the game itself is more up-to-dated. So this is the fullest up-to-dated version of Blasphemous, as it has the version 3.00 and all the extra content they added, as well as the 2 extra bonus skins, and there were no updates available since the time I'm making this video. So it's a really amazing, complete collection of Blasphemous on one disc. Well worth your time if you're a complete collector such as myself. Now, this is different from the limited run version we got a little prior, which that one is now actually the inferior version of the game, as that one does not have a large amount of the updates as this one has, the Deluxe Edition. So, if you want a quick answer right now, I highly recommend getting the Deluxe Edition and avoid the limited run version. The limited run version now is more just for bragging rights and then actual functionality as an actual software or game. Other than that, Blasphemous Deluxe Edition was a lot of fun. It is a Metroidvania-esque style game. It's pretty straightforward. It's got a good mixture of trying to blend a atmospheric, religious twist to the game, but having this bit of a Dark Souls kind of ambiguous storytelling, as well as gameplay mechanics. Like when you die, you leave a portion of guilt for where you died, and you have to get your guilt back. Now, you don't leave your souls, even though they're called Tears of Atonement in this game, but in a different difficulty, it will work that way, where when you die, you will leave your souls or tears where you died. They try to put a little bit of a twist to it, which I do appreciate, but for the most part, some might be quite surprised when I hear to say this, but Blasphemous, even though how it looks and how it plays, it actually really isn't that super difficult of a game. I'm not going to say it's easy breezy cover girl, but but it's definitely not as hard as one would think when they go and at it. It's pretty straightforward. It's a pretty basic kind of Metroidvania style where you unlock more abilities to be able to progress further in the game. You fight several bosses and unlock more powers, as well as get more upgrades throughout your experience of the game. It's a pretty bread and butter Metroidvania. The only thing that really stands out about it is it's got a lot more atmosphere, the religious telling story, which is a lot like the Spanish Inquisition kind of feel to it. At least that's what I got from it. I've never played in Spanish mode, where you have Spanish voice acting, but I actually probably should have, because the game really probably maybe more immersive if you play with Spanish voice acting. But there is English voice acting if you do prefer that. But as I said, though, the game isn't like super hard, and it does have some little hiccups here and there. I didn't experience any like game-breaking bugs, but I did have a point in a game where I fought a mid-boss, and he was supposed to do his death animation, and he didn't, so I got stuck in a location, and I had to exit out of the game and reboot it back up and do that boss fight again because of the mess up. That was the only thing in gaming that messed up. There is one area it's not a bug, but it's actually a gaming design oversight. There is an elevator at a certain part in the game where you can actually fall underneath it, and if you fall underneath it when the elevator is down, you can actually get trapped underneath that elevator and you cannot get out. It's a little past the part of the boss where you fight three ladies who one has like a hammer and 2 of them, and the other 2 has a spear. I know if you probably haven't played, you don't know what I'm talking about, but those who probably have know what I'm talking about. That elevator, after you get done with that, you can get trapped underneath there, so be very careful with that. It's not a big deal, because luckily if you do exit out of the game, restart it, it does have an automatic save feature to it, so you won't like have to do the boss fight again. But if you do it later on in the game, you might come across problems if you haven't saved it. Other than that, everything else was fine, other than just some design questionable flaws in the game. Like, the game has, like I talk about, where you can progress and you unlock more abilities, like a typical Metroidvania, where you get like double jump, wall climb, and so on and so forth. But more typical Metroidvanias, you'll just unlock it all and you can have them all on, and you can just manually switch on and off which abilities you want to use. While Blasphemous, you're only allowed to equip 3 of those special progression items, and you have to switch them out manually as you play if you want to access certain areas or progress certain areas. This became very annoying because it really didn't add anything. There was no like feel why you shouldn't be able to just equip them all. It just felt like a cumbersome mechanic that was completely overlooked and never really thought through about the fact that it can become quite annoying to have to equip something, do what you need to do, unequip it, and then re-equip the thing you had prior because it was better. You see what I'm saying? It was no gameplay mechanical design for limiting you for only 3 of those equipables. Other thing was a little weird is keep in mind that most of all the DLC items were for like a free download. So when they did allow you to download these items, they did expect people already to beat the game. So some of the DLC features in the game cannot be played until after you beat the game. And this is a little frustrating because it doesn't seem to make sense why you had to beat the game and replay the game all over again to access this extra bonus content. Because when you play it, it doesn't like add anything that could have been just the base game in itself. So it was really frustrating. I had to run through the game twice to make sure I covered everything in the game to give you guys a best outlook of the experience. Please also, in case those who are worried, there was a bug previously where once you beat the New Game Plus content, sometimes you wouldn't get the unlockable. It would bug out. I did play all the way through it, and I still got the item. So that bug is fixed, and it's on the disc. So, yay. So, overall, I think Blasphemous has a great atmosphere, good story, great, beautiful sprite graphics. Though a bit stiff at times, but overall, a really good-looking game in terms of being more of a gory-esque kind of style. The atmosphere and story is really good. I love the main character and how he looks. I like many of the abilities and the progression system in the game. Even though some of the sections in the game felt a little odd, like the sewer level, it just didn't seem like it fit the overall theme, in my personal opinion. But everything else, I did rather enjoy it. I wouldn't call it one of the best Metroidvanias I've ever played, but I definitely had a lot more fun playing it, and I did enjoy playing it through it again with the penance difficulty system they added into the game when you play New Game Plus, which is another thing I need to point out. Sorry, I kind of forgot. You get to unlock this thing where you can have penance, where you can play the game with a little bit more of a handicap in the game. But what is odd is you can't access this handicap until after you beat the game and you're playing New Game Plus. So not only are you now playing a handicap mode, but you're already fully upgraded. You got all your abilities, you have all of your items and everything. So it's not like a super handicap, because I mean, unless you did, it seems like they didn't really think that through with the DLC Plus as well as that penance difficulty bonus in New Game Plus. In my personal opinion, it's just I didn't have that hard of a time doing some of the penance, but overall, I still had a good time. I still recommend the Deluxe Edition. It does bring up a subject about the limited run version, which I'll probably cover not too long after this version. I won't run through that all the way through, but I will just do an unboxing video to show you what the limited run version looks like and what you get if you got the limited run version. And just talk about some of my frustrations now with limited run and how we're getting now 2 physical copies, and limited run is now constantly being the inferior version of these games. But I don't want to go into that. This is about the Deluxe Edition. I do highly recommend it if you're a complete collector, such as myself. If you're into Metroidvanias, it's still a pretty good, straightforward Metroidvania. Though, just keep in mind, it is a bit gruesome and violent, so if that's not up your alley, this may not be for you. Though, keep in mind, it's not a hard game, so I actually breezed through it. I really didn't die all that much, and it is a bit more forgiving on the normal difficulty in the game, so it might be a little bit more approachable for some. So, like always, I try to leave links down in the description if you're Instacopy. My opinion, definitely look into it. If you want to hold off, the price will probably drop around $15 to $20, and I think it'd be well worth your time to pick up a copy when it's around that price, and I think that's well worth the amount of money for this kind of game. So, like always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!